being that this blog post came out November 9th, I should have paid more attention to this because I was considering shorting Bitcoin Cash on Bitmex on November 10th. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Traveling Crypto. Sea of red yet again, but it doesn't look, it's not as bad as it looks. Obviously, if you look at the percentages of some of these losses today, they're in the single digit percentage points, but still it indicates that the market is down entirely, really. So the market cap currently sits at 210, almost 211 bill, 2 to 3 bill down from yesterday. And you see some of the gains that we had over the last week are now wiped out. There are a couple of things that I wanted to highlight today. The main one being Bitcoin Cash and what is going on with the Bitcoin Cash shorts on Bitmex, as well as the Bitcoin Cash ABC fork versus the SV fork on Poloniex. So why don't we get into that first, and then I'll get into my analysis for the day. So if you're not aware, this is what the Bitcoin Cash, the BCHZ18, which is a futures contract on Bitmex. This is what the price looks like on that futures contract. And you'll see this long ass wick here. It actually went all the way down to, what was the low? It was 0.0460. This is in priced in Bitcoin. So you'll see that long ass fork. Now, why did it do this? And I'm kicking myself in the ass, to be honest, because I did send out a potential trade alert last Saturday, which was the 10th, saying that I'm considering placing a short on Bitcoin Cash. And this was when the price of Bitcoin Cash on Binance was at 87,542 Satoshis. But I'll get to that in a second. So going back to this, why is the price of the Bitcoin Cash futures on Bitmex so low? It's currently at 0.0566, and if you compare that to the actual price of Bitcoin Cash in Bitcoin, it is at 0.08166. So why is it trading so much below the actual price of Bitcoin Cash? Now, remember that what you're looking at on Bitmex, those are futures contracts, right? Those are derivatives. It doesn't mean that, the price should be exactly the same at all times. Well, here is the kicker. So Arthur Hayes, who is, I believe, one of the founders of Bitmex, if not the chairman, posted a blog post on Bitmex on November 9th, saying that the BCHZ18 contract, which we were looking at the prices on that specific contract right here, that this futures contract will settle at a price on the Bitcoin ABC side of any split. Again, Bitcoin Cash is going to split into two incompatible forks: Bitcoin Cash ABC, Bitcoin Cash SV. Now, what Poloniex decided to do, Poloniex decided to announce pre-fork trading for both of those forks. So Bitcoin Cash ABC and Bitcoin Cash SV are available for trading currently on Poloniex pre the fork, which is November 15th in a couple of days. So essentially, the prices of Bitcoin Cash ABC and Bitcoin Cash SV are already on the market, right? There you can speculate on ABC and on SV currently on Poloniex. So the price of ABC is 0.0544, which is very close to the price of the Bitcoin Cash futures on Bitmex, which is at 0.0565. That is why the price difference now between the Bitcoin Cash futures and the actual Bitcoin Cash price is so varied, is because the traders, the market is deciding that they're already going to be basing the price of this futures contract on what is quoted on Poloniex, right? So that is why it is so close to the ABC price quote on Poloniex already, even before the fork. It's because Poloniex decided to initiate pre-fork trading. Now, if this is confusing to many of you, I don't blame you. You would have to know some forehand knowledge of how futures work and how settlement works, etc. I'm not going to get into that in detail in this video, but this is just for those of you that know what futures are and how Bitmex works and how settlements work. That is why we see the Bitmex price of the futures contract so low. All right, now I should have, being that this blog post came out November 9th, I should have paid more attention to this because I was considering shorting Bitcoin Cash on Bitmex on November 10th. And I should have paid attention to this blog post knowing that, you know, Poloniex had already listed Bitcoin ABC. And if I had taken a look at the Bitcoin ABC price on Poloniex, then that might have helped me make a decision to initiate that short. Anyway, not crying over spilt milk. If you want access to the trade alerts, and yes, that includes futures alerts on Bitmex, link is in the description. Let us get right into the analysis for the day. If you look at Bitcoin, don't be scared. That is not the price of Bitcoin. That is the Bitcoin shorts chart. So that is not the price of Bitcoin. But if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has dropped a little bit. This is now at 62.72 as of the time of recording. Here you'll see that we're still within a sideways channel, and a more defined one if you go all the way back to the second week of October. So we're in this sideways channel for about a month, and in this larger sideways channel denoted by the magenta lines going all the way back to the beginning of September, almost 3 months, 2 months and change now. So yeah, again, the MACD really flat. It's really low volatility. The thing that worries me the most is not really any of this stuff. It's the volume, the fact that we're not getting any sort of volume that we expect during the holidays, right? Even the holidays are even great times for traditional market trading as well, sometimes referred to as the Halloween effect. But yeah, compared to last year, I think we're still pretty low in terms of volume. In terms of the long-term or midterm outlook on Bitcoin, nobody can really tell you which way we're going to break out of this period of low volatility, because this is abnormal for Bitcoin in the last couple of years, right? This low period of volatility here. So if you do take a look at a long-term chart, something like a weekly chart or a monthly chart, yes, you can make determinations based on longer term trends, right? But in the short term or midterm, we really don't know where Bitcoin is heading. I don't care, who's doing the analysis, even me. You really don't know where Bitcoin is going. But again, if you look at a longer term chart, you could make a determination of a longer term trend. And just from a high level, looking at the weekly chart, you could see how long we traded, virtually sideways. This is on the logarithmic scale. But after we saw a bump in 2013. Obviously, there was a bear market around this time because the Mt. Gox scandal happened around this time. But you saw a lull period that lasted a really long while before, another bull run occurred. So just to give you perspective, we could actually trade sideways for quite a long time. On the logarithmic scale, this sideways trading lasted around 2 years, a little over 2 years before we saw a significant bull run. Anyway, that is Bitcoin for now. Looking at some of these alts again, because we are in a sea of red, let's see how some of these individual alts have performed. QKC is actually holding up really well, and as I said in my video yesterday, I do plan on re-entering QKC depending on what happens in the near-term price action, right? Currently, it's bouncing off of this 0.5 fib level like a charm and really staying in between these two channels. So I'm looking for a breakout in either direction and a close before making a determination on QKC. You do see the 50 EMA crossing above the 200 EMA here. If this does cross above it, that would be considered a golden cross, at least on the 4-hour chart, and that could, with good volume, drive the price upward. But stay tuned for the trade alerts for a possible re-entry on QKC. Bitcoin Cash, like I said, I should have shorted on last Saturday when I was thinking of shorting, but this is the price on Binance and not the price on Bitmex. You see this head and shoulders pattern forming. We did expect to see a price drop from here. I honestly don't know what is going to happen after the fork in a couple of days. So I'm staying away from Bitcoin Cash for now, and I'll see how it plays out after the fork. I've been in crypto long enough to know that, you know, holding a coin, even especially one that is losing momentum or losing value in terms of price, just to get, you know, a forked coin or just to get some airdrops, that is not worth it for me, because those processes could take a very long time. The mainnet launches, the forking process, things like that could take a very long time. And while you're holding the coin, in order, you know, for you to qualify to get those things in the future, the price of the coin that you're actually holding could drop tremendously. We saw that with EOS. Actually, it went from $16 to about $6 or $5 the time that the mainnet was gearing up to launch. And it took, you know, there were a few delays, and the launch itself took weeks. Anyway, not saying that we're going to see that with Bitcoin Cash, but it's not worth the risk for me as a trader. I would rather wait for the fork to happen, let the events play out, and then make trading decisions based off of the market at that time. XLM, we see that it has now fallen back under this long-term wedge that has been in play since April. My stop limit did hit on XLM. We did send out 2 trade alerts, one at the breakout of this wedge, but we also sent out a trade alert when it hit the support of this wedge here. So we did take profits already on XLM, but now it has fallen back under this wedge and my stop limit hit. So I'm going to be waiting for a re-entry on XLM. There will be a really sweet re-entry if it does retrace all the way back close to the support of this larger wedge, but we have yet to see. XRP, looking at XRP, this is one that is holding pretty nicely at the fib levels, again between the 0.618 and 0.5 fib levels. XRP, there will potentially be a re-entry as well, depending on volume. The volume has waned a bit from what we've seen in September and October, but we will be looking to potentially make a re-entry on XRP. All right, that is it for the coins that I wanted to go over in terms of analysis. There is just one thing that I thought was interesting. It's this initial coin offerings page on the SEC site. And it describes what ICOs are for the typical investor who may not be familiar with the cryptocurrency market. It's just hilarious that, you know, the stock images that they use for this ICO explanation. I mean, it looks like a typical stock image that you see traditional companies like Merrill Lynch or TD Ameritrade use for their, you know, stock trading ads. It's hilarious. Like, I doubt these two old fuckers here are looking at what an ICO is. But yeah, I will leave a link to this in the description because it is worth a read. It's, you know, we want to know what the SEC is, how the SEC is describing aspect of the cryptocurrency market to average investors and to the general public. There isn't really any surprise information if you're familiar with ICOs, but the good thing is that it doesn't call them out as illegal outright, but it does say that ICOs could be considered securities, and then that would be under the SEC's jurisdiction of enforcing federal securities laws. Anyway, it's a good read. I'll leave it in the description. Leave a thumbs up if you got anything out of this video. Leave a comment. Hit me up on the Discord if you have any questions. Sign up to the trade alerts if you want access to those. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay safe out there. Peace.